You ever hear a sound that rips your soul clean in half? That's the gurgle I heard at 6:12 a.m., the morning after I put my dad in the ground. Black suit still smelling like funeral lilies and regret, when a concrete truck backed into my yard with the grace of a drunken elephant and started vomiting gray sludge straight down the throat of the 154-year-old artisan, while my great-grandpa Elijah Caldwell dug with nothing but a shovel, a mule, and a promise to his pregnant wife that their kids would never go thirsty. I stood there frozen, coffee turning to ice in my hand, watching Victoria Langford, HOA Empress of Willow Creek Meadows, lean against her pearl-white Escalade in 6-inch heels and a clipboard like she was conducting the damn symphony of my destruction. Progress waits for no one, darling. She smirked, lipstick the color of fresh blood. Especially not sentimental old men who think rules don't apply to them. My name's Noah Caldwell, 51, grease still under my fingernails from 28 years keeping Springfield's delivery trucks rolling, and all I wanted after burying the strongest man I ever knew was to sit on the porch my grandpa built in 1954, drink something strong, and listen to the wind chimes my mom hung the summer I turned 10, the ones that still play the same 3 notes like a lullaby from another life. Instead, I got Victoria, Queen of Willow Creek Meadows, the development that swallowed our 5 acres whole back in '87, but could never digest us because we were grandfathered in, historic landmark status, untouchable, or so every lawyer since Reagan told us. Our place, Caldwell Homestead, is the kind of property realtors call character-rich when they're trying to unload it fast. White clapboard farmhouse that leans just enough to feel loved, wraparound porch where 3 generations rocked babies to sleep, chicken coop older than color TV, apple trees so ancient they drop fruit like apologies, and that well, sweet Jesus, that well. Crystal clear water, so pure the city still uses our test results as the gold standard, water that's been feeding this land since before the Civil War ended. Dad used to say it tasted like hope. After the stroke took his words, he'd just point at the pump and smile like a kid who'd won the county fair. Then he was gone, and Victoria smelled blood in that water. She started small, violation notices slid under my door like poison postcards. Unauthorized agricultural structures. That's the coop Grandpa built with World War II surplus lumber. Non-compliant landscaping. Grandma's prized tomatoes apparently offended modern aesthetics. And finally, illegal water source, for the well that predates her entire bloodline. Each notice came with a $750 fine, and the last one had a handwritten note in calligraphy so perfect it hurt. Time to modernize or relocate, Mr. Caldwell. Willow Creek deserves better. I was still learning how to live in a house that echoed with 40 years of Dad's coughing laughs when the concrete truck showed up. I ran outside barefoot, screaming like a madman, but the driver just shrugged. Lady paid cash, said it was condemned. Victoria stood there filming on her phone, probably planning her next Instagram reel about cleaning up the neighborhood. By the time the pump stopped, 4,000 gallons of wet death had swallowed the spring my family had guarded for a century and a half. She killed it while I was wearing the same tie I'd worn to Dad's grave. That night I sat on the porch steps, moon painting everything silver, and I swear I could hear the well choking under all that concrete. A wet, dying gasp that sounded exactly like Dad trying to say my name one last time. Something inside me snapped, not broke, snapped, clean and sharp like a frozen branch. This wasn't about rules anymore. This was about a woman who thought grief made me easy prey, who believed destroying a man's legacy was just another Tuesday. She was wrong. 3 days later, I'm standing in Springfield City Hall, fluorescent lights buzzing like angry hornets, clutching photos of the concrete truck while a clerk named Steve tells me to file a complaint and wait 6 to 8 weeks. The police sergeant says, civil matter, without even looking up from his Sudoku. The county courthouse smells like old paper and broken dreams, and every door I knock on slams in my face. But I've spent 2 years fighting insurance companies for Dad's meds. I know how to be the squeaky wheel that brings the whole damn machine grinding down. Victoria doesn't wait. She blasts an email to all 212 homes. Urgent health alert. Contaminated standing water breeding West Nile vector mosquitoes. Attached, drone photos of my coop circled in red like a crime scene. My garden labeled rodent attraction zone. And where the well used to be, just a gray scar with the caption, biohazard neutralized, thank God. She schedules an emergency HOA meeting for Friday, subject line: protecting our families from one man's neglect. Friday night, the community center is packed, folding chairs scraping like teeth, air thick with burnt coffee and fierce sweat. Victoria takes the stage in a cream suit that probably cost more than my truck, launches into a PowerPoint titled, Preserving Willow Creek Excellence. Slide 6 is my house with sad trombone music. Slide 12 is a graph showing property values plummeting because of the Caldwell blight. Neighbors I've known since Little League avoid my eyes. She's turned my grief into their nightmare. Then I stand up, slow, deliberate, manila folder heavy as a coffin. Before we vote on anything, Victoria, maybe explain why my well was part of the original water allotment for every house here. Room goes dead. I read from the 1987 Charter, Section 12.4, the one that says Caldwell Spring counts toward the development's total water rights because the city supply couldn't handle 212 McMansions alone. By filling it, she didn't just kill my legacy. She breached the municipal contract that keeps every sprinkler system in Willow Creek running. Victoria's face cycles through colors usually reserved for sunsets. Those documents are outdated. We've evolved. I smile for the first time in weeks. Tell that to the EPA, because I filed the report this morning. The room explodes, chairs screeching, someone drops a casserole. Victoria adjourns the meeting so fast her heels leave skid marks. She retaliates like a cornered animal with a law degree. Certified letter from Langford and Associates. Yep, hubby's firm. Accusing me of defamation, demanding I remove my malicious website that doesn't exist yet, threatening to sue me into the Stone Age. Then the safety inspection with her golf buddy Inspector Doug, who finds violations in everything from my 1998 breaker box to the coop's structural instability. It survived Hurricane Hugo. Doug. I request a real inspection. Doug's violations vanish like his dignity. I go full detective. Nights at the courthouse, microfilm machines, eyes burning, coffee turning to tar in my veins, and I uncover the motherlode. Victoria's real estate license suspended 2 years ago for faking flood zone disclosures, still consulting through hubby's firm on distressed sales. Pattern emerges. Harass homeowner. Force sale. Hubby lists cheap. Victoria brings buyers. Commission splits 6 ways from Sunday. 8 years, $237,000 in funny money flowing through HOA accounts marked emergency legal services. I build allies the way Dad taught me to build fences, one solid post at a time. Margaret Park, solar panels ripped out. Frank Murphy, fined into bankruptcy over his plumbing van. Sarah Bennett, garden destroyed after her husband died. We meet at Dottie's Diner, grease thick enough to waterproof boots, and lay our scars on the table like poker chips. Sarah drops the bomb. Every for sale went through Langford and Associates. Every buyer was Victoria's client. This isn't HOA enforcement. This is racketeering wearing lipstick. Then the twist that turns my blood to ice. My lawyer finds the smoking gun in the original charter, page 52, buried like pirate treasure. Caldwell Spring isn't just grandfathered. It's the supplemental source that made the entire development legal. Kill the well, breach the water contract. Every lawn in Willow Creek goes brown. Property values crater harder than 2008. Victoria knew. Email chain from last year. Once the old man's gone, we eliminate the grandfather clause roadblock, annex for phase 2 condos. She waited for Dad to die. She used my grief as a countdown timer. I could end her with one call to the water authority, freeze every faucet from here to the country club, but that would punish 211 innocent families. Dad's voice echoes, "Son, never burn a village to kill one snake." So I choose the harder path, justice without collateral damage. My kitchen becomes war room, legal papers breeding like rabbits, coffee pot never empty, security cameras rolling 24/7 because Victoria graduates from fines to felony. She escalates like a horror movie sequel with no budget for subtlety. Slashed hoses, freed chickens doing the conga line through manicured lawns, teenagers paid in Starbucks gift cards to toilet paper my oaks. My cameras catch Victoria at 2:14 a.m. in black yoga pants and a ski mask, scattering pet store rats like demonic Johnny Appleseed. One still wearing a $4.99 price tag. Then the lawsuit, $75,000 for emotional distress and community sabotage, served by a deputy, while Victoria films from her driveway, like it's the season finale. She tries to bribe me with $20,000 cash in a Starbucks bag. Take it, disappear, everyone wins. I record every word. When that fails, she hires goons to sabotage my septic tank. One drops a wallet with Lang in bold Langford and Associates business cards, because of course. Her own board member Tom Fletcher flips, brings secret recordings of Victoria admitting everything. The concrete, the fraud, the plan to blame dead people for missing money. Best line, that stubborn fool thinks his daddy's grave will protect him. I'll bury them both. We set the trap for the annual meeting, public forum, no escape. I play broken, stop updating the website, let her think she's won. She schedules dissolution vote with 48-hour notice, planning to salt the earth. But we're ready, environmental lawyers, forensic accountants, state investigators, news vans parked like vultures. The community center is standing room only, 138 residents, air so thick you could chew it. Victoria struts in pearls and confidence, launches into her victory lap PowerPoint, numbers faker than her highlights. Then the doors open. State EPA agents in windbreakers, sheriff's deputies, my lawyer carrying the evidence briefcase like it's the Ark of the Covenant. Cameras swing like it's the Oscars. Victoria Langford, you're under arrest for environmental terrorism, racketeering, fraud. She grabs the mic, voice cracking like cheap glass. This is a witch hunt orchestrated by that hillbilly. I take the stage calm as Sunday morning, plug my phone into the PA, play her greatest hits. The bribe, the rat rant, the septic sabotage plans. Room detonates. Margaret stands, voice shaking but strong, tells how Victoria stole her sunlight. Frank recounts bankruptcy by fine. Sarah cries describing her dead husband's tomatoes bulldozed for aesthetic compliance. One by one, victims become warriors. The EPA agent lists charges: $200,000 embezzled, protected aquifer poisoned, federal water contract breached. Victoria lunges like a cornered cat. You'll all regret this. Property values will. Deputies cuff her mid-sentence, pearls clattering like hail on tile. Last thing she sees is every phone recording her downfall for posterity. Aftermath is sweeter than grandma's apple butter. Victoria gets 26 months federal, $312,000 restitution, house sold at auction, real estate license revoked, marriage imploded in headlines that read, HOA Queen dethroned. Willow Creek elects Frank president, rewrites bylaws so tight you couldn't sneak a lie through with a crowbar. They jackhammer the concrete for 3 days straight, sound like freedom getting born. When they hit water, it shoots 10 feet high, pure, cold, singing like it missed the sky. I rebuild the pump exactly like Grandpa's, brass handle worn smooth by 4 generations of Caldwell hands. First drink tastes like every apology the universe owed us. We turn the homestead into community heart, teaching garden, chicken camp for kids, solar panels gleaming where Victoria once forbade them. Property values? Up 29%, because turns out people pay extra to live where neighbors actually act like neighbors. Sometimes I sit on the porch at dawn, coffee steaming, wind chimes doing their 3-note lullaby, and I draw a mason jar from the well that refused to die. I toast Dad, Grandpa, the spring that outlasted them all. Victoria thought she buried us. Instead, she taught an entire county that some things are worth fighting for, that grief can forge warriors, that one man with a camera and a conscience can drown a tyrant in her own concrete. But here's what keeps me up some nights. Was prison enough? Should I have pulled the water authority trigger and let 211 lawns die to prove a point? Or did mercy make the victory sweeter? Tell me in the comments. Where's the line between justice and vengeance? When does protecting your legacy become destroying someone else's life? And if you've got your own Victoria story, spill every detail, because somewhere out there another grieving son is reading this, thinking he's alone, and he needs to know the well can always be uncapped. The water always finds its way back to the light. Subscribe if you believe some things should never be paved over. Next week, the city that tried to eminent domain a widow's farmhouse for a parking garage, and the widow who made them regret waking up that morning. Until then, keep your cameras rolling, your receipts saved, and your water running clear. The well remembers. So do we.